Hello everyone. So today I will be talking about object-oriented programming, and I will be giving a real-world example as well. We will be coding that in Java. I will be sharing all of that code on GitHub, so you can download it from there and also practice it as well. Object-oriented programming has 4 pillars, so inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. Um, I will be mostly focusing in this session on classes and objects so that you can actually understand what these are. I will use my pen pointer and try to change the color for this. So we'll be specifically talking about objects and classes. So what is a class? A class is a user-defined data type which consists of attributes and methods. So I'll be moving on to the next slide. So you can describe class as a blueprint or a template, and object is actually an instance of that class. So a good example from real world is that a class is a category or a group of similar objects. So for example, fruits, and fruits can have fruits can be apple, bananas, and mangoes. So that all lies into fruits category. Similarly, when you look at person or human class, then you have John, Mary, Elizabeth, and many more people can exist. So simply you are grouping the category as a class, or you're defining it as a class, and the real world entity is then defined as an object. You can create class by using the keyword class, um, and then for object you can create an object by using the keyword new. For class you can only create one class. You can't create multiple classes with the exact same name, so it's going to be unique. But objects can be multiple. So looking at the grouping example again, fruit, for example, is a category in itself, and you have multiple objects based on that, such as apple, mangoes, and bananas. Class doesn't allocate any memory when you create it. So when you're writing the blueprint, it does not allocate any memory when you create it. But for objects, it does allocate memory. So it will allocate memory for apple, as you will be defining its attributes and features and so on. And similarly, it would be same for people or person, where you are creating an object such as John, who has his own attributes and has his unique functions. Okay, now moving on to the example. So I will be talking about an example based on Winchester University. So let's say you have got a contract and you will be paid £2,000 to build an application for Winchester Merch University. And what Winchester Merch shop does is they sell merchandise and have Winchester University logo on different merchandises. So you have been asked to design a console application for the University of Winchester. And this shop sells merchandise such as t-shirts, coffee cups. It can be also many other types of merchandise such as hoodies, teddy bears, and so on. So the staff members that work in the Winchester merch shop will be using this application. So they will be interacting with the application to sell the merchandise to the customers. Customers will be paying for their bill in cash at the till. So now you have the requirement, and you will be building the software for your customer, and when you do so successfully, you'll be getting the money in the contract. So I hope this example is clear on what we have to do. So let's play this a bit visually on how this works out. So we say that we have the shop physically. The staff is on one side of the till and the customer on the other, and they sell t-shirts and coffee cups. Let's say we will take two categories for this case study, and then once the customer takes these items, there is a cash receipt, so which has different information such as address, telephone number, date, manager, and then the items that the customer has bought. So here in this case, let's say t-shirt and a coffee cup. It shows the total price, any taxes, and the barcode. And once that's done, the customer pays cash, and then everyone's happy. So now, to be able to create this system or solve this problem, what we are going to do, we are going to identify classes, as we are going to solve this problem using object-oriented. So we know that we have to design a console application, and we know this shop sells merchandise such as t-shirts, coffee cups. So like I said, we are going to take category. So merchandise is going to be, so I'll just highlight this. So our class or category will be merchandise here, as its objects can be t-shirt and coffee cups. Staff members are going to be our class again, as there can be multiple people who can be working as a staff, and they will be using to sell merchandise to customers. So customers can also be different people, and then they will pay their bill, which is going to be the receipt in cash at the till. So now we have highlighted all the classes in this paragraph or in this requirement. So all of these yellow highlighted are actually going to be our classes. Now, if you want to create objects, we will think about the type of data that we can create, or objects that we can create for these blueprints. So for example, for merchandise, we will have t-shirt, one object. We can have coffee cups. And then for staff, we can just have person names, and simply same for the customer as well. For bills, you can have a unique bill number, for example. Okay, so now let's say Mary and John are working as staff members who will be operating this application to sell merchandise to customers. Alice walks in and she's a new customer who just wants to buy a coffee cup. So let's imagine that's our staff. Mary walks in, she takes a cup, she goes to the till, she gets the bill, and she pays the amount, and she walks out of the store. Now that we understand what our classes are and what our objects are, so in this scenario, Alice will be the object, which will be which will be following the blueprint of customer class, and Mary and John are the ones which will be objects made from the staff class. And the cup or the coffee mug is going to be made from our merchandise class. So now we have not only identified the blueprints or the classes that we are going to be making, but we've also identified a use case scenario and created objects. Of course, this means that this can change, so this is not always going to be static, so it's not going to always be Alice who's going to be buying things, so we can create more objects, and it could be possible that Mary and John are not the only ones who would be selling these items. It could be that they hire more staff, and therefore we can make more objects as well. So now I will move on to IntelliJ and write some Java code on all of this.